Alright, so we're going to try something a little different. I tried reviewing my car in the past, and it was a complete fail. I can't do it. I can't talk about my own car hardly. So what we're going to do is, if you remember right, I reviewed Brady's Mustang last week, and the video's done really well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have him drive my car and give you his thoughts on it, kind of compare the two, and see what he sees as different, since he daily drives the V8, I daily drive the V6. Hopefully my car doesn't blow up. It just crossed over 240,000 miles. Anything's possible, but it's worth it. So, hope you guys enjoy, and please subscribe.
I could seat you by the fire. Listen, listen. There's something I must confide. I know I said that it'd be fine. I know I made it look like it'd be alright, but I think I learned my lesson, and I'm not gonna let you out of my sight. You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light, and it might taste bitter when you're answering to God. You can call me killer as you look into my eyes. Nothing but a sinner. You won't get away this time. You won't get away.
Hooked on a feeling. Hi, I'm Brady. I drive a 2004 Mustang GT 5-speed, and this is going to be my personal review of a 2003 V6 5-speed. Now the thing is that this one, as many of you would know as it's his channel, this is Xander Meisman's Mustang with 240,000 miles on it. So I'm going to take it easy on it because it's old. So the one thing you'll immediately notice, at least between mine and Xander's, is there is a good bit of loudness difference. Also, of course, the fact that it's a completely different tone because it is the V6, but of course that's going to happen. And one thing that is true completely is the fact that he has put in a short throw shifter, MGW I believe was the brand, and it is ridiculously notchy and really short and just great. Now he does have a stock clutch in it, which is surprisingly kind of heavy compared to some of the other stock clutches that I've ever felt. Another thing that I have noticed about the difference between these cars is the gas pedal is so much different. So another thing that I have really noticed about this specific V6 compared to a New Edge GT, the seats are completely different. For some reason these feel a lot flatter. So now I understand why you don't press the gas until you've completely released the clutch. Yep. With my GT, for instance, if you just press in the clutch or pull your foot off the gas first and then press in the clutch, it gets jerky. Basically what you have to do is do the same at the same time. It makes it real smooth, and you have to do the same with whenever you're actually releasing the clutch. You have to release the clutch while still giving it gas. And this thing, whenever you do that, it just revs it up a little bit higher and it's burning the clutch, and that's no bueno. Another thing that you can compare between the V6 and the V8 models of the New Edge is the steering feel. For me, the GT seems to have a little bit heavier of a steering wheel. So you feel a little bit more, it takes a little bit more effort to turn, which I love. It gives you more, I can't necessarily say responsiveness, but it lets you know what's going on with the front end of the car a little bit more. Well, see, the thing is that the V6 Mustang is, I've always seen a V6 Mustang as being more for the person who wants to say, hey, I have a Mustang. And they're not always really into cars, or they're just getting into cars and they just think, hey, a Mustang's kind of cool. Or maybe it's for that old guy that just doesn't really want the power and just wants a neat little car to get around in, you know? It's just one of those kinds of things. The V6 and the V8 actually apply to completely different sales groups. For instance, whenever Xander bought this car, he was still pretty young. He was still going through high school. He bought it with his own money. It was a good, cheap first car, and he's loved the shit out of this thing, you know? It's just one of those cars that he doesn't even want to get rid of, because, you know, it's his first car. It just completely goes to a different kind of audience compared to, say, with the GT. I bought that thing after a couple years of working. I was out of high school. I had money. I was driving a truck which had almost 240,000 miles on it, and, you know, it was my dad's old truck, and I was pretty close. I was pretty close with that thing, you know. It was so. He has Flowmasters on this thing, which actually doesn't sound bad at all. It's a good sounding V6. His clutch seems to bite a lot higher than mine does. And another thing is, I have a pair of 410 rear end gears in my Mustang. The difference is ridiculous. Like, we're cruising along at 30 right now at about 1700 RPM. If I was in my Mustang, I would be in about 4th gear, maybe at 1500 RPM. Well, I personally would say this thing is a much better cruising around car than my Mustang is. That is because it does not have the 14 gears. It is also much quieter, which is not always bad. Another big difference between the V6 Mustang and a V8 Mustang is gas mileage. So people think anyways. The gas mileage difference between the 4.6 2-valve and the 3.8 V6 really isn't that big. This gets around 26 miles per gallon on a good day, and in a perfect situation, the V8 can get 24, and I've managed to get 24 out of that thing before. Bear in mind, that is with 410 rear-end gears, so the gas mileage, I personally would say, would be very identical.
On a long trip, the most I've ever been able to pull out of the car was 29.7.
The V6 Mustang will have one major thing over the V8. It will have a lighter front end because it has a V6 compared to a V8, which of course there will be less material up there. Basically that means that it can handle a little bit better if you do the thing upright. His sits around an inch higher than mine, and he also has 205 tires, which may limit it in performance at least a little bit, simply because you're not getting quite the best handling you can out of it. While mine is lower, like, of course, an inch lower than him, it's about an 1.5 inch drop from stock ride height, and I have 245s up front. Now that helps a lot with the handling. So the GT also comes with a lot of different suspension pieces that the V6 does not come with. The V6 doesn't come with like rear quad shocks. The V8 will also have the rear sway bar, which really helps.
One problem with having a Mustang, though, you get a lot of attention that you don't want.
Basically, whenever you're purchasing a GT, you are getting more of a performance car in every aspect. You're going to get better handling, you're also going to get better power, but you're also going to get a higher price. The interior between a V6 and a GT are literally the exact same. It's one of those things, it's from the dark age of American cars. You got to think, in that era, there was also the F-body Camaro, which to this day, and even whenever it was close to new, had a problem with the dash cracking and pieces of plastic falling off and all sorts of other things. This interior is a little bit higher quality than that, but it's still plastic. But it's okay, because the interior itself is actually, personally, I think, really pretty, and it has a lot of throwback designs. Honestly, between the V6 and the V8, Ford just kind of threw a bunch of parts together and said, Mustang. So really the only difference between the two is the engine and some suspension components. Other than that, they're basically the exact same. I mean, drivetrain may be a little bit different. Like the entire setup all the way back to the axle, everything like that's different, but sometimes it's difficult to tell if one's a V6 or V8. The new Edge Mustang specifically, a lot of them tend to look like shit because they're easy to get a hold of and they're cheap. And that's sad because I think the new Edge is gorgeous. I think it's a really pretty design.
It's just like, it's one of those things, you definitely learn to appreciate it once you start to get into the New Edge Mustang, because originally, like, I thought it was ugly, because every time you see one half the time, they're all faded or just nasty looking in general.
Can I do a Subaru WRX fan thing?
The acceleration reaction.
Wow! 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 Woo, 65, man! Golly gee! Wow! Alright, one thing that I actually really do like about what he's done with this are the LED